So last week we got FOMC. So Fed cut the rates of 25 basis points. So many beginners are still wanting to know what is inflation, what is a Fed, what is like rate cuts, what are job data, what are all the stuff and all. So in this video I'm going to show you a beginner knowledge. You will going to learn a beginner level of knowledge. What is CPI, what is PPI, what is NFP, what is job claims, and etc. All the fundamentals and which are the things which may cause your SL, which may, because of which you might blow your account. So before trading you should at least know the basics of all the fundamentals, like how economy works, what are the things to be noted before entering a trade, what are the things to be looking before entering the trade. So in this video we are going to see the full tutorial for basics, fundamentals and all key lines. I have divided the news in four different criteria. Like first is job data, which are NFP, unemployment claims, which are getting all the things related to the jobs, employment, unemployment data which are released in US economy. So second comes inflation data, where we are having the CPI, PPI. These are all the data related to the inflation. And the third is growth data, which means service PMI, manufacturing PMI, GDP, retail sales, and more stuff like that. And which indirectly shows some growth in our economy, in US economy and all. And the fourth is geopolitical headlines, which means war, tariffs and natural disaster, maybe some sort of issues of two countries and all the stuff like that, which are that are not expected. You can get new news. You have to be up to date with this all geopolitical headlines and all before entering a trade or while trading. Let's start with inflation. So inflation means the price of goods and services which are rising. Which, let's say, imagine we were having the cost of bread which is $1 few years back, and today it is cost of 1.05. Means it increased the price of that packet of bread. So that's the inflation. So what it matters in our economy, like what it matter in our trading or other stuff like that. So inflation is, if the inflation is too high, people lose money values, and the central bank, which is Fed, must act something to balance the economy according to the inflation. How we can trade according to the inflation. So according to the trade perspective and trade angles, I am going to show you a simple pattern or simple understanding that you can place your trades or you can trade accordingly to that data. So high inflation, which means we are having some hike in inflations. So Fed may raise the rates, which means Fed are going to increase the rates. So what it shows? It shows the dollar, which is USD strength, means it shows the USD to pump, and as per that USD we are going to plan our trades as gold and Nasdaq and may flow. Gold and Nasdaq and all the other whatever asset you trade. For this understanding I am taking Nasdaq and gold as an example. So if the inflation are high, gold is going to drop, not like a full drop, but it may take pullbacks and all drop can be happen. But what if inflation is low, which means the data like CPI, PPI and all shows that US inflations are low, which means gold, Nasdaq and all the things are going to be pumped, or we can say some sort of, we can get pushing like bullish momentum. Well, because of that USD may be show some weaknesses. Now it comes NFP, non-farm payroll. This is the monthly report, shows the data of jobs in USA. The monthly report showing how many jobs were created in the US, excluding farming, government and private householding jobs, right? So why this matters? Because job is equal to economy to be strength. So how we can see NFP as a trade perspective or trading angle? So if a bad NFP, which means we get some sort of less job claims data, which means bad NFP, gold, Nasdaq, might all the things may be strength, like we can see the bullish momentum on that, as US are going to, US economy or US DXY, which is dollar index, may show some weaknesses. Same vice versa, if good NFP opposite to bad NFP, which means we are going to see some pullbacks or we can say drop in gold and Nasdaq. Now moving further, we are going to look for CPI and PPI, Consumer Price Index and Producer Price Index, which means a measure of inflation from the customer side, price of goods, services we buy and all the stuff, and the measure inflation from the producer side, which is the raw material, wholesale marketers and all the people around like that. So again, our main perspective, our main focus is to how we can use CPI and PPI as our trading angle. What we should be looking for that. So if CPI and PPI are high, which means inflation strong, Fed may hike the rates, and USD going to be, we can say dollar index going to be have some strength, good strength. So we can see gold and Nasdaq some weaknesses. Like that, vice versa, if they are weak, which means CPI and PPI are weak, vice versa to the same thing, we see gold, or we can say dollar to be drop and gold and Nasdaq to be having some sort of strength. So now moving forward, we are having FOMC, Federal Open Market Committee. So who they are? Why we need to get knowledge of FOMC? Because they are the group inside the Fed that decrease, or we can say decides the interest rates to manage or balance the economy. We are having some meetings. We are having 8 meetings per year where they are going to claim the interest rate may be cut or stable and all this stuff. So what they look for, FOMC and all the groups or members inside the Fed are going to look for the data like NFP, CPI, PPI, unemployment to get some sort of numbers, and to balance that numbers, we can say to balance the economy, they are going to decide rate cuts or maybe rate hike as per the economy. So again, how we can see FOMC as a trading angle. So hawkish, or we can say may get hike again, USD some strength, and we can see gold and Nasdaq to be took some sort of weaknesses, or we can say dovish we will keep cutting the economy weaknesses, or we can say the scenario which happens this week, which Fed cut the rate of 25 basis points, which means we got some sort of good strength in gold, Nasdaq, as well as all the other assets which are opposite to the dollar index. So how we can look for this all news? If you are beginner, if you are totally new to this market and all, how you can get that when we are going to have FOMC, when we are going to have CPI, when we are going to have NFP, to track that all data, all the news, you must be using, like what I am using is a Forex factory, where you can see all the updated data, upcoming trading events, upcoming trading data, like we are having NFP next week, like that we can get it, like NFP, CPI, FOMC, all the stuff. Okay, so like that, if I say in the simple words how you can understand the US economy or interest rate and FOMC in a simple example which can relate you easily and you can understand it easily. For that, I have given I have took one example to improve your understanding. Think of the US economy like a car, which means inflation is a speed, too high or too fast, the car may crash. So the Fed is a driver, where the inflation, if the inflation is high, the Fed presses the brake and rise the rates. If the economy is too slow, which is bad jobs, weak growth, the Fed press the accelerator, cut the rates, and NFP tells how many passengers are there in the car, like jobs, economy, unemployment and all. And CPI, PPI tell us how much fuel costs, which means inflation. So this is a simple example which I have, like, according to my understanding, is a simple example to understand economy, like economy and all the data and all the stuff in a simple understanding. Before trading any kind of news events, any kind of data release or other high impact news, you have to be aware that at that time we are going to have a huge spreads, we are going to have some sort of volatility, huge volatility, and for that, if you are beginner or you are just trading, you just start trading, just ignore the volatility. Make it simple, just avoid trading that news and trade after this event or all the stuff is over. So subscribe to our channel, trade safe, trade well.